Okay, for our next set of misadventures in tweening, we'll get into some more advanced things. How to move and edit the tween spline or curve. How to add and delete keys from our tween range. Easing. And then also we'll get into some special effects like alpha channels. So here's our animation that we ended up with from the beginning, our famous oval. And just some quick things you can do with this. You'll notice if you go up here and grab the move tool again, the selection tool, you can go and just, if you click on the spline, you can select the whole spline and move it around. So now the animation, the entire animation moves down. So you have to click on it once and then get it to move up here. And the second thing you can do, which I accidentally did at the very beginning, is if you go up here and move your curve, your move tool around one of the points here, it gives you the little curve next to your arrow, and that means you can grab and now tweak the curve itself and make this spline have a bend in it here. And you can go and really get pretty nutty with this. This is simple because it only has 2 points on it, but you get the idea. So we can go and adjust this, and sure enough, now our animation takes place along a curve instead of a straight line. Okay, so here's another quick thing we can do. We can also add additional animation to this. So if I wanted to have a second thing happen here, I could go ahead, right click on my key timeline, we'll say on frame 25 here, and choose Insert Frame. The range is now extended out automatically to that frame. And then I can go ahead and just make my move up here, and it goes ahead and gives me that extra range of frames there with a tween. And I could go back and adjust that accordingly. Now when we're using the motion tween, deleting a key is quite a bit trickier than I personally would like it to be. So if I wanted to get rid of this frame here in the middle, that keyframe, and just have kind of a smoothed out arc here, I'd have to go into what's called the motion editor. And that's up here under Window, Motion Editor, or it's tabbed here with your timeline. And what we do is we go down here and select our object, and we get this beastly thing. And what this is it's our animation in graph form, which again, I don't have a problem with this, except it doesn't really behave the way that I would like it to, but that doesn't matter. What I'm going to do is to go in here and get rid of these motion or position keys. I'm just going to go and select them, and they turn green, and then I right click on them and say remove keyframe. And once that happens, our animation is smoothed out. If I go back to the timeline, that key is still there. I think there's a scale or a rotation key there. Let's see. Yeah, there's still a rotation key there. So if I wanted that rotation, for example, to happen, instead of happening here, if I wanted it to happen at 25, I would go back to the motion editor, find the rotation key here, and just go ahead, and I think I might be able to just slide that over. No. Whoops. I think I have to delete the rotation key here first, remove keyframe, and now I can slide this over all the way to 25, and then the rotation will now take place over the entire range of the animation. So you can get quite a bit more in depth into working in the motion editor. That's probably a really good way to go if you want to get into really elaborate stuff. But the other way to go is more, I'm showing my age here, is to use something called the classic tween, which is different from the motion tween. And I'll show you that in another video. But the reason why there's still a key here is because, as you can see, there is still a key here in scale. So if I go back to my timeline, if I wanted to get rid of that once and for all, I would go back and then, yeah, get rid of these scale keys here. Remove keyframe and remove keyframe. There we go. Now, no keys, right? Yep, all gone. And everything is happening over this one range. All right, two more things I want to cover with the basic motion tween. The first one is easing, that you have up here. If you have your range selected in the timeline here, your ease settings will come up here in the properties panel, and you can set that basically to ease out, which means it's going to start fast and the spacing will change and become closer together as you come in to the animation. So if we play that back, you can see it slow down there. And again, I apologize for the bad playback on my old computer, but there you go. The main thing is if you can see the spacing on the spline, that the dots get very close together as we come into the end. If I reverse this and go to negative numbers, we're going to have the reverse. The dots will be clustered together closer to the top here and farther apart as we go out this way. Okay. Now, you can work with these eases in the motion editor, and I just have to say, as my complaining way of doing things, but this makes absolutely no sense to me, the way they have easing handled in the motion editor, so I'm not even going to go there. But we're going to work with easing more with the classic tweens, which just make a lot more sense and will give you more fine-tuned control. But that being said, I wanted to show you just the basic eases there just by using the properties panel. It's pretty useful. Now the other thing, last thing I want to show for this video is the alpha effect. And this one you'll use quite a bit, I think. And for this, what we're going to do is have this basically fade out. And the way that works is if you go here and select your instance here, and under the properties panel, go to color effect and choose style alpha. And then a slider comes up here. We can just slide that down to 0 and that fades out. So we'll have this just over time, it will become more and more transparent. Very nifty. We could do that in reverse if we wanted to, but that's the alpha channel. And again, we'll work with that more in our classic tweens. So there you have it.